Dajjal sees with one eye, his left eye. The artist is already at work, eh? What can I do with that left eye, eh? Dajjal sees with his left eye. He is blind in the right eye. It looks like a bulging grape. But your Lord is not one-eyed. Between his eyes, on his forehead, is written the word Kafir. And every mu'min will be able to read the word Kafir. Whether that mu'min is literate or illiterate, katib or ghayru katib, whether he can read and write or he cannot read and write, he'll still be able to read the word Kafir. We have interpreted this hadith and its symbolism countless times. But since most of you have never had any experience of a direct contact with me before, your only contact with me has been a place called YouTube. I'm going to have to repeat it one more time. Why is it that Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu can read Kafir, but Abu Jahl cannot read Kafir? Is there something wrong with Abu Jahl's eyes that he cannot read the Kafir? Let us send him to the eye specialist. The eye specialist examines his eyes and reports that he has perfect vision. 20/20 they call it. Any eye specialist present here? We have a few doctors here, but no eye specialists. Okay. Well then, how come, if his eyes are perfect, why can't he see? Why is it that Ali can see, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, but Abu Jahl can't see? Is it that Ali is not seeing with these eyes? Could it be that we have other eyes besides these eyes? The modern universities would say, what rubbish is that? Huh? Oxford and Cambridge and Yale and Harvard and Stanford and Sorbonne, and that's nonsense. These are the only eyes we have. This is the only medium through which we can acquire knowledge of external objects. This is the only means through which we can perceive, our eyes. Beside these eyes, we have no other eyes. And so beside this avenue of knowledge, we have no other. This is called, a branch of knowledge is called epistemology. Don't be scared, it's a long word, but never mind. It's the branch of knowledge which studies knowledge. And this is the Western epistemology. That these are the only eyes that we have. But the Quran says that in addition to these eyes, the heart can see. And so the Quran has a different epistemology. The heart can see. But the heart can only see when Allah puts nur in the heart. And as we mentioned earlier, nur is not sold in the stock market. يَهْدِ اللَّهُ لِنُورِهِ مَن يَشَاءُ. Allah guides to His nur whomsoever Allah chooses. And so when Allah puts nur into the heart can see. And when there is no nur in the heart, listen to the language of the Quran. It is very harsh. Allah says, they have eyes and yet they don't see. They have ears and yet they don't hear. They have hearts and yet they don't understand. Ulaika kal an'am, they're just like cattle. That's harsh language. Bal hum adal, rather they're worse than cattle. They're more misguided than cattle. A people who have eyes and yet cannot see. And so now we can conclude, at least I conclude, you will have to make up your mind, that when the Dajjal sees with his left eye, the Dajjal is seeing with external sight. And when the Dajjal is blind in the right eye, the blind right eye symbolizes internal blindness. This is my interpretation. You do not have to accept it. You must first be convinced that it is correct before you accept it. Let me warn you one more time. And so now we are face to face with the beginning of the world of symbolism in Dajjal. Those who follow Dajjal will be internally blind. There are lots of cattle in the world today, I can tell you that. There are lots of cattle in the world today, I can tell you that. And as we proceed with this lecture, you'll get the evidence of it. Dajjal's one eye represents epistemology. The left eye is external sight. The blind right eye is his internal blindness. Those who have eyes with which to see, because they have nur in their hearts, would be able to recognize Kafir written on the forehead of Dajjal. But when Dajjal appears in human form in 20-25 years from now, and he is in Jerusalem, and he declares, I am the Messiah, and you go close to him and look, would you see Kafir written on his forehead? No. So those who belong to something called Protestant Islam, you know, they hold on to the literal interpretation of everything, will go closer, get a torchlight, shine the light on his forehead, go check to see if there's any dust on his forehead, wipe it. No, I'm not seeing Kafir written on your forehead. You are not Dajjal. No. Secondly, you are not Dajjal because you have two eyes. You have two eyes. I am not laughing and you are not laughing in order to ridicule that Protestant Islam. No. What we're trying to do is to deliver a message again and again and again and again and again, to try to wake them up that your methodology is deficient, your methodology is wrong. No, this Kafir on the forehead, as any artist, and we've got so many of them here tonight, as any artist would know, is symbolic. It represents the capacity of the mu'min to look at that which Dajjal creates. For example, he creates a civilization. And the civilization comes to be known as modern Western civilization. And the mu'min will be able to look at modern Western civilization and recognize it to be based on kufr, as though kafir is written on its forehead, as though kafir is written on its forehead. Let us now turn to a second hadith of symbolism. And the artists tonight are going to enjoy this. They're going to have a field day. The Dajjal comes with two things: river and the fire. The Dajjal comes with two things: a river and the fire. But his river is a fire, and his fire is the cool waters of a river. Whosoever falls in his river will have his load of sins increased, and whosoever falls in his fire would have his load of sins decreased. In other words, the river symbolizes Jannah, the fire symbolizes Jahannam. The river symbolizes the road to a life of plenty, to a life of ease, to a life of leisure. And the fire symbolizes a life of hardship, of suffering. So the Dajjal takes the road to heaven, the road to joy and happiness and peace and pleasure, and he makes it look like the road to hell. That's not easy to do. You gotta have a PhD in deception to do that. Yeah, not easy. He takes the road to heaven and he makes it look like the road to hell. And he takes the road to hell and he makes it look like the road to heaven.